Hello. You might not recognize me, but my name is Rabbi Paysach Krohn. And if you think I look ridiculous, believe me, that's exactly how I feel. But I'm doing this for a purpose. We are actually going to make now a Kiddush Shem Shemayim, because we are going to learn now about a whole world that most of you have never heard about, and that is the world of bees. You see, as we approach Rosh Hashanah, we know that bees make honey, and honey symbolizes the sweetness of a new year. We dip the apples in honey and the bread and the challah in honey. But how are bees functioning? How do they produce the honey? How do they get along with each other? What is the queen bee? And we have, when I say we, I mean my dear son-in-law, Hananya Kramer, who's filming this, and myself. We have a wonderful friend whose name is Rabbi Daniel Senter. Rabbi Daniel Senter has many, many interests in his life, and one of them is raising bees. We are going to show you in just a few moments a hive here in Teaneck, New Jersey, that has over 80,000 bees. And there is a whole system of how the honey is made, how the honey is gathered, and how it finally comes to our table for Rosh Hashanah. So what we are about to learn is something fascinating about a world that we never realized existed. So come with me, and I will show you, together with Rabbi Senter, and through the animation and the video of Kolrom, the wonderful world of bees.
Welcome to Be Amazing, an exploration into the fascinating world of honeybees, starring our host, Rabbi Daniel Senter, noted beekeeper, educator, and overall authority on the lives and times of bees. Ah, Sukkot, my favorite time of year. We all go outside to enjoy Yom Tov in the beautifully decorated sukkah, complete with wine, challah, honey, and
bees. But those buzzing, stinging insects that you often see inside your sukkah are actually yellow jackets. And yellow jackets can be aggressive, so if you do see them in your sukkah, you should certainly avoid them. But they are often confused with honeybees. Honeybees almost never sting. If a honeybee stings, it actually dies. It has what's called a barbed stinger, which means there's a hook right at the end of their stinger. And if they sting you, their stinger stays inside you, and when they pull away, it actually kills them. So unless they view you as a real threat that you're going to do damage to the hive as a whole, they will not bother you.
Getting stun's no picnic, on this everyone agrees. You're clear of wasps and hornets, but you're safe with honeybees. We don't want a hook that's carved inside your skin to linger. After all, we're goners once we've stung you with our stinger. We make honey, yeah, we're called honeybees. And we also pollinate by flying high above the trees. We're not aggressive, don't threaten our hives. We'll leave you alone because we want to stay alive.
yes, thank you, bees. Let's hear it for the Honey Harmonies Buzzer Shop Quartet. That will be all now, ladies. This is an informative, educational film, and we won't be needing any more buzzing. Now then, the bees are split into 3 different categories or castes: the queen, the drone, and the worker bee. We focus today on the worker bee, a type of honeybee that indeed works very hard.
The queen's purpose is to just lay eggs. That's all she does. The worker bees, which are all female, do all the other chores in the hive. The expression busy as a bee is very correct, because bees can be busy 23 out of 24 hours a day. Right? They rest, they never sleep. They rest for approximately 1 hour a day. Sometime during the early development of an egg, it was chosen by the community that that egg should be developed into a queen. They feed her royal jelly, and she will actually develop quicker, 16 to 19 days. She'll emerge from her cell as a queen bee. The average bee during the summer lives about 6 weeks. In comparison, a queen can live up to 6 years. The interesting thing is, during the winter months, the queen stops laying eggs. Winter months extend long beyond 6 weeks. We should no longer have any bees in the hive. Why is it that winter bees live 6 months and summer bees live 6 weeks? Because if they didn't, they couldn't exist. And since God wanted our honeybees to exist and realized how important they were for our environment, therefore summer bees live 6 weeks, winter bees live 6 months.
Out of 24 hours, we all work 23. It's no joke when people say we're busy as a bee. Royal jelly makes a queen, that's one of our techniques. So much to be accomplished in our lifespan of 6 weeks. Our work ethic is really pretty great. And now we'll teach you all about the way we pollinate.
Pollination is a sophisticated and complex topic, which will obviously require the use of charts, graphs, visual aids, and I was going to say careful analysis. Pollination occurs when pollen is carried from flower to flower by bees, thereby ensuring that a plant will produce full-bodied fruit and a full set of viable seeds. The other important activity being accomplished by the bees at the flower is collecting nectar. Nectar is carried inside the bee and eventually becomes honey.
The amazing thing is, had one thing been reversed, we'd have no pollination. Right now, when the bee travels from one flower to the other, she's got pollen on the outside of her body, and some of that pollen falls off of her and onto the flower, thereby pollinating the next flower. Had Hashem reversed the process, whereby the pollen was inside and the nectar was outside, there'd be absolutely no pollination.
Honeys, this is a family program. Now then, how do the bees actually find the flowers from which to procure pollen and nectar?
Foraging bees will leave the hive and fly up, straight up above the tree line, and they will then spread out and cover a 3-mile radius. She'll return to the hive. She wants to tell those foraging bees, I've got a great source to find honey. So the way she does that, she gives off a scent called a pheromone. Her pheromone is detected by other foraging bees. Everybody who's interested, being the other foraging bees, gather round because I have a message to tell you. She will then dance in what's referred to as the waggle dance, which is basically a figure-8 dance. And based on her position in the hive and the position of the sun, she will communicate to those other bees exactly where to return to collect this nectar source. The other bees, just based on the waggle dance, can leave the hive and will be able to accurately find their way back up to 3 miles away to exactly the location of that nectar source to be able to collect it themselves. Bee vision is very, very specialized, and their eyes have been specially designed to be able to see very well in the dark. Inside that pitch black hive, they're able to communicate partially by smell, their pheromone, and the bees detect movement through vision and also through the use of their antenna.
Foragers return and let us know where they have flown. Messages are sent through smell, they're called our pheromones. With bee vision, antenna, position of the sun. Figure-8 is power with a waggle dance is done. Find that flower, come along with me. The antenna, night vision, and lenses help us see. Come do the waggle, everybody dance. Gotta find that flora for our pollen to advance.
Come do the waggle. Yes, on to our next very important topic of temperature control. Us humans are adaptable in various climates and are fine with a fluctuating temperature of anything from, say, 0 to 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Bees, however, are an entirely different ball of beeswax. In order for the queen bee to stay alive, the temperature inside the hive must be maintained at 90 degrees all year round.
In the winter, they actually heat the queen. They do that by shivering. The bees form a winter cluster. They basically ball around the queen. Somewhere in the middle of that cluster is our queen. Right outside her and surrounding her are bees that shiver. They create heat, and around them are other bees that basically serve as insulation. So they have to move together as one unit around the hive, consuming their honey.
That sounds great in the winter, but what about in the summer?
A big majority of them go outside the hive. This reduces the sheer number and therefore makes it easier for them to cool the hive, but that would not be enough. So what the bees do is they actually set up on the front porch or wherever that entrance is. They face head into the hive with their backs facing out of the hive. They'll flutter their wings at a tremendous rate, thereby creating draft, where the air is moving from inside the hive to outside the hive, and that movement actually cools the hive and will bring the temperature down to 90.
Yet another job performed by worker bees is the guarding of the hive from dangerous intruders. Bees alert each other of potential danger by releasing their scent. Balance is maintained in the hive by ensuring that the queen bee's specific scent, or pheromone unique to her alone, is always recognized. If the scent fades, the hive knows their queen is gone, and they take swift and decisive action, creating a new queen for their hive.
There could be running out of room in the hive. The hive could get too crowded, and that will trigger an instinct within the bees that it's time to make a new queen and divide the hive in half. And what they'll do is they'll develop a new queen right before that new queen is about to hatch. Half the bees will force the old queen to leave the hive. They will fly to a new location and set up as a new hive somewhere else. That's called the swarm.
Psst! Honey Harmonies, you're on!
See, he likes us. Thought you'd never ask. I'm so buzzed. Our queen stays warm in winter, cause we cluster in a ball. Our summer shivers cool her down, she hardly sweats at all. We guard her with our lives, protection is the only way. After all, she lays over 1,000 eggs a day. Maintain the balance, don't upset the norm. Otherwise we'll split and crown a new queen with our swarm. Let's talk about the honey, cause we're called honeybees. So don't you think we ought to spend more time on honey, please?
Harvesting the honey is what most people look at as the best part of beekeeping, although I might argue that there are other parts which are very, very enjoyable, but certainly for Rosh Hashanah, honey is an essential part of our Rosh Hashanah. The bees have been busy making honey all summer, so now you can go take all that honey. Truth is, very often the bees don't even have any extra for us, and if they don't have 81 or more pounds of honey, I don't get a drop. So we make sure we always leave 80 pounds of honey.
But how exactly does the honey get from the bee to our honey jar?
We will spin the honey, get the honey off of the comb. We'll then filter it, put it into bottles, and it's ready to go and be served to you on Rosh Hashanah. So honey is an amazing food. It's actually completely shelf stable, and it's stable because the bees need it to be stable for it to last through the winter.
But remember, it's not just the honey we enjoy that makes these bees so important. They are our best pollinators, and without them, much of our produce supply, items like almonds, apples, peaches, and nectarines, would dwindle or even disappear.
Honeybees in recent years have disappeared in alarming numbers, and there are a number of reasons why our bees are disappearing. It could be because of loss of environment. There's just not as much flora around for the bees to collect pollen and nectar from. It could be insecticides. We're using these aggressive insecticides. And left unchecked may result that we will not have enough food to eat. So it's very, very important that we recognize the essential role that the honeybee plays, both in collecting honey for us and also providing the fruits and vegetables that we eat.
So what can we do to help? Honeys?
Recognize the value of flora in our world. Limit those insecticides so pollen is unfurled. Know that we're your friends, we're not your enemies. Don't swat us, just protect us. Please cherish all us bees.
And Hashem has just created a perfect world. And the way that world functions and interacts, one with the other, with us, with the flora, with our environment, is so absolutely perfect. So the next time you see a honeybee buzz by, don't think she's going to sting you. She certainly won't. Think about the wonderful pollen and nectar she's collecting and how she's going to turn that into honey for both herself and you for Rosh Hashanah. And think about all those wonderful fruits and vegetables she's going to help us enjoy.
Yea, for the honey and for the honeybee. Protect our hives so we'll survive, making honey for you and me. Yea, for the honey and for the honeybee. Protect our hives so we'll survive, making honey for you and me. Protect our hives so we'll survive, making honey for you and me.
Protect our hives so we'll survive, making honey for you